going to analyze Anglo-Norman literature in detail. Before heading towards today's audio, we have already done a detailed introduction to the origin of Anglo-Normans and their conquest in England. So it is better for you to listen to that audio first, then come to this one. You can access the link of the same from the description box or from our channel's homepage. So today we are going to look into the impact of Anglo-Norman rule in English language and literature. As far as Norman rule is concerned, it brought significant changes in English language. Norman rule has brought an linguistic division in society. This is something we have already told in the previous video, that French became the language of nobility, Latin became the language of clergy, and English became the language of lower class. So as French became the language of nobility, more and more French words began to appear in English lexicon. That means French words began to be a part of English lexicon, mainly related to government, law, art, literature, and food. As it created a language division in society, we have that English speaking people on one side, French speaking people on the other side, and we have the clergy speaking Latin. So this minor community of English speaking people that constitutes working class or lower class have to communicate with the upper class or the clergy. Okay, so this English speaking community have to communicate with this non-English speaking community within a society. So this has brought significant simplifications in English grammar, consequently in English spelling also. I'll give you some examples. We are familiar with the word queen. Before Anglo-Norman period, the spelling of queen, that is Queen, the word familiar to us, before it was Cwen. It was during Anglo-Norman period, it became Quen. And SHIP, ship, its spelling was SCIP. SHOULD, should, it was formerly spelled as SCOLDE. And another important change was that it was Anglo-Normans who introduced the practice of using adjectives after nouns. We usually insert adjectives before noun, right? Colorful lady, for example. But they started the practice of inserting adjectives before the noun. For example, Secretary General, Surgeon in Chief, like that. Then coming to literature, what all changes Anglo-Norman period has brought in? In poetry, rhythm and regular meter was introduced. This was in sharp contrast with Anglo-Saxon writing of poetry. Then, which were the popular forms of writing in Anglo-Saxon period? Did poetry exist or did drama exist? Let's see. It was Anglo-Normans or French people that brought romantic tales of love and adventure to English literature. As we have already seen, they were chivalric and fearless people. So that chivalry or that sense of chivalry or attitude of chivalry has got reflected in their literature also, and they began to write about romantic tales of love and adventure, and the source of such works largely were from Latin or French. So these romantic tales of love and adventure collectively came to known as romance. ROMANCE. So romance was the most popular form of writing during Anglo-Norman period. There were romances based on the subject King Arthur, then War of Troy, then the doings of Alexander the Great. In the coming days, we'll do a separate audio on Anglo-Norman romances. So then we'll discuss about it in detail. Now, what were the other forms? Chronicles were there, life of saints, and historical writings. So all these were written in Latin. Okay, so these are the major changes that brought to language and literature in general during the Anglo-Norman period. Now, let us move to each form of writing in detail. Before that, I would like to introduce two theologian, philosophers or writers to you. One is Lanfranc and the other is Anselm. We'll give you the spelling. Lanfrac is Lanfranc, and he was the Archbishop of Canterbury, and his importance is that he was the one who provided basement to the English common court system. In the previous video, I've already said you that it was Anglo-Normans that brought court system to England. And it was this man called Lanfranc provided a basement, a framework to the English common court system. And the second person was, of course, Anselm, Anslem, and he was a pupil of Lanfranc, one of the disciples of Lanfranc. He was a theologian and a philosopher, and he was also the second Norman Archbishop of Canterbury. He is famous for two of his works. He has written many works, but famous for two works. They are Proslogion and Monologion. We'll give you spellings: Proslogian, Proslogion, and Monologion, Monologian. Proslogion was a sequel to Monologion. Sequel means second part. So Proslogion was the second part of Monologion. And among these two works, Proslogion holds importance. Why? In Proslogion, he proposes his famous ontological argument. In Proslogion, he proposes an argument, a concept rather, and which later came to be known as the famous ontological argument. What is that argument? Let's listen to. If God is defined as a being than which no greater can be conceived, and such a being can exist in the mind, then he must exist in reality, which is greater than the mind. This argument was variously addressed later by Aquinas, Immanuel Kant, and Bertrand Russell. Hope you get it. And if you have any doubts, if you need any clarifications on the content of these audios, feel free to post it in the comment box. We'll surely reply. Okay. So now let's move to the other popular writings of the period. Let's start from Chronicles. In the medieval age, the term chronicle included or means, so what is the meaning of the term? Every kind of history. So every kind of history is a chronicle. In the vernacular or in the native language, they were known as brutes. So in the Polish language, they were known as chronicles, and in the vernacular, because we have a minor community of English speaking people still in the society. So in the vernacular, they were known as brutes. The spelling is BRUTUS. So why brutes? So this brutes was believed to be the founder of Britain. So that is why they have given the name brutes to this chronicles. Now let's move to major chronicles and their writers during Anglo Norman period. One thing to note here is that all these chronicles were written in Latin. So it have long foreign titles. So there may be disparities in the pronunciation, but we'll give you spellings. So it is better for you to take a pen and paper and note down the important chronicles and its writers. The first one is Simon of Durum. The spelling is Simeon. Simon of Durum. Durum. Simon of Durum. And his major works include 1. Historia Ecclesiae Dunelmanis. We'll give you the spelling. Let's forget the pronunciation, okay? The spelling is Historia, Historia. Ecclesiae, Ecclesiae. Dunelmanis, Dunelmenis. If you can't catch up the spelling right now, you can turn on captions. You will get the spelling written on the screen. Then the second work by him is Historia Regulamum et Decorum. Again, we'll give you the spelling. Historia, again, we have already spelled Regumanglorum. Et, Decorum, Dacorum. And this is a work based on the life of King Arthur, written by Asser, Asser. And who was King Arthur and why he was so famous? Because you will hear his name in the coming audios also. So why he was so famous, we'll discuss it when we discuss about Anglo Norman romances. Okay. So the second person, the second writer is Florence of Wolster. We'll give you the spelling. Florence, Florence. Florence of Wolster, Worcester. Florence of Wolster. And coming to his works, first work is Chronicon ex Chronics. Spelling Chronicon, Chronicon, X Chronics, Chronicis. So the meaning of this title is Chronicle of Chronicles. And this work is the first attempt to write a universal chronicle from the creation onwards. And after his death, this Florence Wolster's death, this work was continued by John of Wolster. Then we have the third chronicle or the chronicler, Edammer. The third writer, Edmer, Edmer, Edmer. His works were 1. Historia Novorum. Historia Novorum, Novorum. Then second work, Vita S. Anslemi, Vita, Vita S. Single word, put alphabet S. Anslemi, Anselmi, Anslemi. Then the fourth author or writer, Ordicus Vitalis, Ordicus, Vitalis, Vitalis. His works: 1. Historia Ecclesiastica, Ecclesiastica, Ecclesiastica. He has written this work in 13 books, 13 books. And this work, the theme of this work or the subject of this work is the rule of William I, the Duke of Normandy, who conquered England in 1606. Okay, I hope you remember. Then next work is Ordicus Historia. So Ordicus Vitalis, first work, Historia Ecclesiastica, in 13 books, which deals with rule of William I. Then second work by him is Ordicus Historia, Ordicus Historia. Then the fifth author, if I am right, is William of Malmesbury. William of Malmesbury. And his works. 2 works to his credit. First one, Gesta Regum Anaglorum. Gesta Regum Anaglorum. Gesta, Gesta, Regum, Regum, Anaglorum, Anglorum. So the meaning of this title is the deeds of kings of England. So Gesta Regum Anaglorum, or the deeds, Deeds, deeds of kings of England. Then the second work, Historia Novella, Novella, Historia Novella. Historia Novella is a sequel to this work, Gesta Regum Anaglorum. So sequel is the second part. We have already said that. Sequel means second part. So Historia Novella. Then the third work to his credit, Gesta Pontificum. Gesta, Gesta Pontificum, Pontificum, Gesta Pontificum, or the meaning of the title, Deeds of the Bishops. Deeds of the Bishops. Then the next work is Historia Novella. Historia Novella. Yeah, we have already said about Historia Novella, and the meaning of the title is New History. That I forget to tell you. Okay, Historia Novella, the meaning of the title is New History. Then the sixth author, if I am right, Henry of Huggington. Spelling Henry, Henry, Henry of Huggington, Huntingdon. Name of his work, Historia Anaglorum. Historia, you know the spelling, Anaglorum, Anglorum, Historia Anaglorum, or the meaning of the title is The History of English People. The History of English People. And again, this book also bases its theme in Norman conquest and its aftermath. So the theme of the book or the subject of the book is again Norman conquest and its aftermath. The seventh one is most probably the most important author in this category. You should remember. You should at least remember his name and his work among these, the pool of writers. Then Geoffrey Monmouth. He is Geoffrey Monmouth. Spelling is Geoffrey. Monmouth. Monmouth. His work, very important, Historia Regum Britanniae. Historia Regum, Regum, Britanniae, 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 Historia Regum Britanniae. And the translation of the title is History of the Kings of Britain. And the book deals with history from Roman era till Alfred the Great. And it was one of the most popular texts of Middle Ages. Then the next author, the eighth one, William of Newburgh. And one book to his credit, that is Historia Regum Anglicarum. Historia Regum, you know the spelling. Anglicarum, Anglicarum. Historia Regum Anglicarum. The meaning is History of English Affairs. Meaning of the title, History of English Affairs. Then the ninth one, Benedict of Peterburg. Benedict of Peterburg. And one work to his credit, that is Thomas Becket's Passion. A very different title, and it features a very important person, Thomas Becket, the name. So it's better that you remember that Thomas Becket's Passion is a work, it's a history written by Benedict of Peterburg during Anglo Norman period. Okay. Then another important author and work is History of the English by Geoffrey Gamer. We'll also deal about this work in detail when we deal about Anglo Norman broods and romances. Okay. I'll repeat once again, Geoffrey Gamer, Gaimars, Geoffrey Gamers. The work is History of the English. And what is the importance attached or attributed to this work is considered as the earliest extant history in French language. Probably the earliest history available in French language. So with this we are coming to the conclusion of the major chronicles and its authors. But definitely more to go. We have to discuss in detail about Anglo Norman broods, because this has got a vernacular version called broods. Then we have to go in detail about Anglo Norman romances. Poetry and drama were also in existence. So we'll deal with all those things in the coming audios. So if you find these audios helpful, please subscribe and touch the bell icon, and also select the all option to get notified at the time of uploading itself. If you have any doubts and clarifications, you can definitely put it on comment section. If you feel these video audios are helpful to your knowledge and your preparation for UGC NET JRF, then do like, comment, and also share to your companions or friends. Yes, we are learning. Let them also learn. Thank you so much. Stay safe, stay healthy.